The United States has marked the 20th anniversary of 9/11 and the deadly terror attacks that would change the course of history. At Ground Zero in New York City, relatives read aloud the names of the almost 3,000 people killed. Commemorations also took place at the Pentagon in Virginia and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, the sites of the other crashes. Family members of those who perished paid tribute to the lives cut short by the attacks.
"2,977 lives, a loss that still haunts America. The New York Police and Fire Department bands played at hundreds of funerals. Perceptions of presidents were shaped and redefined that day. When the bell tolled for so many. On a bright September morning, much like today.
These 20 years have felt like both a long time and a short time, and as we recite the names of those we lost, my memory goes back to that terrible day when it felt like an evil specter had descended on our world. But it was also a time when many people acted above and beyond the ordinary.
Gordon M. Amos Jr.
Edelmiro Abad.
Marie Rose Abad.
They were day traders and flight attendants, cleaners and tourists, young and old, rich and poor, firefighters and police officers. A generation has been born since then, marked by their legacy.
You, Pop-Up, and Dad have inspired me to follow in your footsteps and become a firefighter too. We hope you will continue to watch over us and keep us healthy and safe. We love you so much, Uncle Chris.
In Washington, officials at the Pentagon marked the moment. A plane tore a hole in the centre of US military power. The attacks posed a grim challenge to superpower America's might. It responded with a war on terror. Many more soldiers would lose their lives in its name.
And many of the 13 brave men and women who just days ago gave their lives to save others in Afghanistan were babies back in 2001.
September 11th's final attack, the hijacking of United Flight 93. Its passengers wrested back control of the plane from its hijackers. It went down in a Pennsylvania field. The man who led America through 9/11 remembered the day's heroes who helped one another that morning.
On America's day of trial and grief, I saw millions of people instinctively grab for a neighbor's hand and rally to the cause of one another.
That unity, born of trauma and grief on September 11th, did not endure. But what has lasted are people's memories of those who perished that day. The large gathering at Ground Zero this anniversary, a reminder of that time, when America seemed to stand as one.
And DW correspondent Carolina Chamoy is reporting for us from New York City. Carolina, you were at Ground Zero where the Twin Towers once stood. Can you talk us through the atmosphere there today?
Claire, it was a very sad, a very emotional atmosphere at that ceremony. People were telling or sharing the stories of their family members, of their friends who died on 9/11. And there were also these moments of silence matching the very same moments when these tragic events happened. Like, for example, at 8:24 when the first plane hit the first tower on the north face, or on 9:03 when the second plane hit exactly the building that was standing here. This was the second tower in the World Trade Center. And now look at all these roses and flags from people who have been coming here, all these names. There's even a name, and then, as you can see, there's the letters and her unborn child. So behind every one of these names and these roses, there's a very personal, a very emotional story. And that was the atmosphere also today. And these people and their stories, that was in the focus of the ceremony.
Now, at the commemoration today in New York City, what stood out to you the most?
The personal stories, mothers telling you about their sons who, for example, were paramedics and went into the building and rescued people, at least 3 people. That was a woman from Puerto Rico telling me this story. And then he went a 4th time in there. Yeah, of course, thinking and knowing he was a hero, but he never came out. And so when people are telling you these stories, you don't have anything to say. It was really sad, and I think it was very important to have these stories in the focus of the ceremony, and as they all say, to never forget what happened in 2001.
Now, on this anniversary of 9/11, has there also been reflection about how the event marked the beginning of a new era in the United States and indeed in the world?
Yeah, I would say a lot of things changed, Claire, after 9/11. In domestic politics, the Patriot Act changed, for example, the surveillance laws. Policemen were allowed to go into private households to report on things, to check on things without an official permit. Also, well, for example, one of the things we have all noticed are the whole checking procedures at the airports. This wasn't like that before 9/11. This changed after 9/11. And regarding foreign affairs, the war on terror, this was probably the most important point. Germany also participated and supported the United States in this war, and that was also the day after 9/11 when the war in Afghanistan started. So a lot of things changed, not only for the United States, not only for New York, but for the whole world.
Indeed, 20 years on, they continue to affect the world we live in. Carolina Chamoy there for us in New York City. Thank you so much for that update.